Working hard to make America great again for all dogs, it's the Digger Digger Doggos podcast.
How are you?
I'm doing fine, just great.
Fine or just great? Or all of the above?
Everything in between.
It's a new year, my friend. 2025 is upon us. Let's
Yes.
pop some champagne and do a
Sure.
little toast.
Okay.
How exciting is this? Can you believe? I mean, we still have our Christmas decorations up, but I think it's okay. You got New Year's Eve,
Yay.
1st of January, we celebrate, and then Christmas will go down, the next week or so, right?
Yes,
And you got some exciting news.
I do.
You want to share it with our wonderful listeners out there?
Okay. My youngest daughter, she is in the hospital and she will be hopefully giving birth very soon. My first grandchild.
Super exciting.
Yes. Going to be a girl.
Yeah.
And I think that's great because girls tend to be more smarter than boys.
Girls rule. Thank you. Duh. All right, my friend. Well, here's to the most amazing year,
Yes.
2025. Lots of blessings to your new granddaughter. There's nothing better than that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And to all of our Digger Digger Doggos that you
Yes.
can see on the couch with us.
Mm.
Good stuff.
Yes.
All righty, my friend. So why don't we talk a little bit about what we talked about in our first podcast? Do you want to kick us off there?
I think we left off when we were talking about training.
Our last podcast,
Mhm.
we talked a lot about adoptions, right? Because it's the holiday season and we were really hoping that people would go out during the Christmas season and adopt a bunch of dogs. And with that being said, if you did adopt a dog from a local shelter, from a local rescue, we would love to hear from you. Let us know what kind of dog you got, how many dogs you got, and how it's going, because that's super exciting. So we really hope that people took advantage of just the holiday spirit and brought a 4-legged family member into their home.
Yes.
But with that, we did talk about training. We definitely touched on that. And so I think today, why don't we focus a little bit more on the training aspect, especially for those people that did bring new doggos into their homes. Yeah. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. I think
Okay.
training is critical, actually,
Yeah.
to any new or seasoned dog owner. 'Cause there's so many points that are positive for the dogs and the owner to learn about each other and things to know.
Okay, so here we are, Yuki. And before we get into the training piece of this podcast, which I am super excited about, we always want to talk about something fun or show something fun. And today we have some fun dog treats for doggos that you can find at any of your local pet stores. These are great treats all year round. So let's take a look at those now. And maybe one of our doggos on the couch would like to try one. But we have something here. This is doggo ice cream. Let's see, Greek style frozen yogurt pet treat. Should we open one and see what
Sure.
they think?
Look like Buttercup wants his
She
now.
wants it now. Yeah, so this is a great idea for your pets. I mean, these are made specifically for your dogs. There's so many different flavors. There's so many different brands. Again, at any of your local pet stores, you can use it during the holiday season as an extra special treat, or you can use it in the summertime if you live in a hot climate, or you can use it just because you love your doggos. Well, Buttercup definitely loves this one.
Mm.
Yay! So this is just something special we wanted to share with you guys, something that you can, like I said, find at any local pet store. And I guess I'm going to have to hold this now that Buttercup is going to lick the whole thing. Do you want to give one to another dog?
Okay.
All right.
Is it human grade?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I don't know actually if they're human grade. We need to read the
It
ingredient list.
almost looks tempting.
Huh? Let's see. In order to find out if they're human grade, I need to put my glasses on. But we will put a link to these products in our podcast so people can check them out. And, yeah, they're loving them though.
Yeah,
They're
Peanut
definitely
loves it.
doggo grade. How about that?
Peanut loves it.
All righty. So let's get into the training topic. How about that?
Okay.
And let's see. Yeah, these two, I guess, are just like, they're sleeping on the side over here. They're not interested in the dog treats. Just, you want some dog treat? You want some doggo yogurt, doggo ice cream? Okay, so just to recap, for those people that have adopted a shelter pet, over the holidays, we have the 3-3-3. Remember, we touched on that in our last podcast.
Mhm.
So you have 3 days for the dog to really adjust to new surroundings. I would say it's probably a little bit longer than 3 days, but you want to give your dog time to just decompress.
Yes.
Really, I tell my personal clients, minimize expectations, like meet your dog where they're at. And when a dog comes out of a shelter environment, it's very overwhelming. Even our rescues, there can be a lot of dogs in rescue, so it can be loud. It can be isolating, overwhelming. So when you bring your dog home, have an area set up for them. I'm a
Yes.
fan of crate training, but a quiet space for them just to chill out. So that's the first 3 days. And then you have the first 3 weeks, and that's when you really start to look into the training and you start to bond with your dogs, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you really start to love on them and they start to love on you and they feel safe and they start to understand that they're home. And then within the first 3 months, it's really all about socialization and that continued training. So that's just a recap for those of you out there that, again, went and adopted doggies over the holidays. Give them a chance, right, to just get acclimated and to start to feel comfortable so that they know that they're safe and loved. But Yuki, how are some ways that people can find trainers in their area? Do you want to touch on that? Buttercup is going to town on this.
Some of it is word of mouth. People talk to each other and saying, hey, you got a new dog? Do you have a trainer? And, that kind of stuff happens. You can look online and search under dog trainers. Certain cities may have in their Parks and Recs department offering classes in dog training. That's what I did for one of my dogs. So there's quite a few places you can find trainers, but I think the best by far is word of mouth.
We have a winner here. Sorry. They're loving this.
And being a foster dog person, I've handled or run across a lot of dogs that I've taken care of. And those threes are very important because as I get to know them, it does matter on how you progress into their life and how they bond, and then how you can start to train them or show them how to behave or, things like that. And I saw it in all the dogs that I fostered, and it's so important. And yet it is so rewarding once you get those 3 things going and they start to bond with you.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful.
Yeah. Because then you can really, like you're saying, when you first bring a dog into a home, whether it's fostering, and we'll talk about that in a later podcast, or you've just adopted a dog, you don't want to push that dog too hard.
Yes.
You're not going to grab the dog and try to overly show it affection or have too many expectations. So like you're talking about, the 3-3-3 is great. And then you talked about great ways to find local trainers. For me, I think Nextdoor is a fantastic app. I mean, it's on everybody's phone. You can go on Nextdoor. You can ask people in your neighborhood, hey, have you used a trainer? Who would you recommend? Or if it's not a private trainer that comes into your home, which is what I do, because I really believe training starts in the home.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody's looking for private classes or group classes or classes in even pet stores, Nextdoor is a wealth of information, I think, because word of mouth, that means somebody has utilized that service or that person, and they can give honest feedback, which is so important, especially when you're bringing a private trainer into your home. You want somebody that's reliable. Like for me, I'm a certified dog trainer. I'm constantly going back to school. I took a year-long vet course. I'm constantly educating myself so that I can provide that education to my private clients. Local, what were you saying earlier? You said Parks and Rec is also, a lot of people are looking for maybe free training, especially in the beginning, or just to get to know people. So your local parks and recreation centers, a lot of times they'll do the group pack walks, which is also great for socialization, right?
Yes.
We've had some of that experience.
So important to socialize dogs.
Yeah, super, super important. You doing okay, Yuki?
Yes.
Are you thinking about your grandbaby?
All the time.
Okay.
It's rather nerve-wracking, tell you that much.
And then I also think it's important, when I worked with you, it's important to find out what type of methods your trainer is going to use. For me, I'm all about positive reinforcement. And so that means like, we want to meet our dogs where they're at. We want to approach training with a very positive mindset. We want it to be rewarding for them. Like we talked about, I mean, you would not train with one of these lovely things because they're too focused on them. This is something that you could maybe reward your dog with after training, but using training treats, right?
Yes.
To get them to focus, to desensitize certain behaviors outside, to get them to pay attention to you. Like what training methods have you used with your own personal dogs that you would like to share?
I use treats to reward their proper behavior and learning things. I think the worst thing is to reprimand any dog if they're not quite performing to your specification. Dogs are very loving, and they just, all they want to do is make you happy. So if they do something and you don't reward them or at least show them that that's not the way by using punishment or something,
right,
they're not going to really do as well as if you just use positive training with good rewards.
That's right. Yeah. Definitely wanting to use positive. I mean, I know for myself as a trainer, there are behaviors that we do want to correct. So it could just be a quick little correction to leave it, a no barking, and then you redirect and refocus. But yes, we're all about positive training because positive training is going to really help build a dog's confidence. And I think for clients too, it's like, what are your goals, right? Like I do a 6-week, 1 hour a week training session, but like figuring out, because each home is different, each lifestyle is different. Like what would your goal be for your dogs? For me as a trainer, I'm very into safety for dogs. So dogs not running out the door. So working on boundary training at the door and also working on recall. Some people want, just socialization with other dogs. They want them to be around other dogs, walking around other dogs. I mean, again, it's depending on your dog, your lifestyle, and what you would like to see in the long term. Because for me and my experience, and I think you would say you would have the same experience, like there is no limit to what dogs can learn. And age is really not a factor.
Yeah.
So you can train, starting at puppyhood, and you can train all the way up. I think the oldest dog I ever trained was 13 or 14 years old. And that dog learned distance stays for time. It was beautiful. So really being thoughtful about it, but there's so many different places that people can go. Private training does cost a little more money, but that person is coming into your home. And again, I find that training starts in the home because there's a dynamic in the home that the dogs will be affected by and be reactive to it's just their environment, right?
Yes.
But then you've got your pet stores, you've got your local parks like you talked about. There's so many places that people could find ways to train their dogs. It's really limitless. And so we encourage people to take advantage of it in their own neighborhoods. I feel like, am I saying too much?
Because
you chime in, my friend.
You are the expert. What you say, it just flows in my ear and sticks in my head.
You have to train. You've got two.
Yes.
Well, actually, you've got 3 big dogs, 2 small dogs. So let's maybe talk about some of the methods that you've used just on your own, some of the things that you've discovered that were super helpful.
Okay. Well, one thing though, when you do have multiple dogs, you can't train them all at the same time. You need to get their attention in order for them to learn things.
Right.
So you have to take your dogs out one at a time, be one-on-one with your dog. That'll give you the best results. Because sometimes one dog will distract the other dog and pretty soon they're just playing and everything.
Right.
You don't want that to happen. Take your dogs out one at a time if you have multiple dogs and train with them and bond with them.
Right.
And if you notice the t-shirt that I'm wearing, it says LA Marathon. I trained all the time to do this run, and I finished it. And that's very comparable to how you want to train your dog. You want to keep training and training until they learn what you want them to do. And you got to keep it up. You just can't do it once and think they got it all. You got to keep reinforcing, keep retraining so that you'll always stay on top of the game.
I agree with you. It's funny. I'll tell my clients it's a marathon. It's not a sprint because I say that to them all the time. It's like people have to limit their expectations. It's like, I'm back in school. It's like I can't absorb all the information like in one day. Dogs are very smart and they'll pick things up quickly, especially like we talked about with positive reinforcement training. but you have to be consistent. It's that reiteration of those behaviors that you want.
Exactly.
It's positive reinforcement, consistency, strong boundaries. Those are the things that get the dogs to learn.
Yes.
And so, yes, it's definitely a marathon. You keep doing it day in, day out, and your dogs, it's amazing to see, especially our shelter dogs. They come out, a lot of them are shut down, very fearful. You know, they're not sure if they're staying in the environment that they're in, if that's their final home. And then you start to train them and you see their behavior start to shift. They become more confident. Tail comes up, they're listening more, they're making eye contact. Because some people will say, oh, well, you know, like training is mental. So what I'm trying to say is like, you know, people get out, they exercise their dogs, or people have a large backyard. They're like, well, my dog has plenty of room to run around. But the training piece is the mental piece. It's what gets the dog to stop, to pay attention, to listen, to focus, and to make a decision, right?
Yes.
So what are our thoughts? Triple D here. What are our thoughts on dog parks?
I think
Are we a thumb up or a thumb down? A paw up, paw down.
Well, I'm a thumb up.
Or down. You're a thumb up for dog parks?
Well, a clean dog park, you know, where there's not a lot of trash and people are respecting the space by keeping it clean, picking up the dog poop and all that.
Okay.
I don't mind that. But a dirty one where people aren't respecting it and they're not picking up after their animals, that's just horrible.
Well, I, on the other hand, am not a fan of dog parks. But that's okay, because you will find that we don't agree, which that's, you know, why we're here. We don't have to agree on everything, and we don't agree on everything. Okay, Jesse's going to freak out if you don't give her a little bit of that yogurt, the Doggo yogurt. She's really wanting that. I personally am not a fan of dog parks. I don't think it's the accurate way to socialize dogs. I think socialization needs to be done with, you know, small amounts of dogs, meaning like maybe you have a dog and then you brought another dog into your home. You can walk them together, or you can walk your new dog with the neighbor's dog. You can find pack walks. You can obviously hire trainers. You can do training in your local pet stores, and the dog can work around other dogs. And then if you know that your dog is really social, I love our cage-free doggy daycares. Again, we're here in Southern California, and we have so many amazing cage-free doggy daycares. The dogs have to pass a temperament test, meaning they truly have to be social with other dogs. You can watch them play like on a camera, you know, when they're in the facility. And for me, I think that's the best way to go about it. But I do agree with you. If you do take your dog to a dog park, and there are people out there that do, you want to stay close to your dog. You are responsible for your dog. Clean up after your pet always. And the biggest thing for me, though, I think as a trainer, again, is just have fun, right? Find somebody that you relate to help you train your dog. Please give Jessie some more.
I don't think she just wants to sit next to me.
She's an honorary doggo. Well, she's a doggo. Yes. This is Jessie.
Yes,
and Jessie came from a rescue. And Jessie had lots of puppies.
She had 6 puppies, I think it was.
And she had to get some training, and she's doing great now. So, Yuki, is there any wisdom that you would like to impart on anybody out there that's listening to us today in terms of training?
Yes. Learn the 3Ds.
Three
threes, yes. It's very important that you understand your animal, your pet.
Right.
Because then you will understand how to bond with them better, how to train better. It's so important to know your animal, because they are gonna be your part of your family. So it's so important to get to know them, and be patient.
A winner.
Each dog has its own timeline, I guess you'd call it, where they'll start to slowly get used to your house. They'll get used to their environment.
Right.
And they'll get used to the owner.
That's right. That's right.
It's so important for that to happen.
To build that trust.
Yes.
With the new owner. You're absolutely right.
And as a foster, when that last 3 came around where they start to really bond with you, that is probably the best feeling.
You be nice, Buttercup. Buttercup does not want to share this. Here, buddy.
So,
hold one.
Yeah.
Butter.
So, like my t-shirt says, marathon. Train with your dog every chance you get. That's right. And keep reinforcing that training.
Yeah.
You know, I could go to my Angel, and I could go and do the same commands I gave him 5 years ago.
Well, he's a she.
I'm sorry, yeah. Anyway, and she'll start to go and start doing the training again because she has learned it. But it is nice to reinforce it by
It's grandpa brain, but that's okay. We
Yes.
love it, but
My mind is kind of going all over the place today since my daughter
That's okay, because I'm
may
just
give birth today. So yeah, my attention is like really sketchy.
that's okay. Buttercup. Okay, there might be a little doggo disagreement over here. I mean, we have a whole box of these, but Buttercup, you've already had one. Share with Peanut. So this is Peanut. This is Buttercup. Okay, and yes, for me, just a quick recap. Word of mouth to find a trainer for you, either a private trainer or going into a pet store, group training at a park, but ask your neighbors, ask your friends, ask people that have dogs because you want to have somebody that's trustworthy and you want to feel comfortable with the way that they are training your dog. Please be very hands-on with the training. I will have clients that will ask me, "Oh, do we just leave our dog with you or do you come pick up our dog?" And I tell my clients, actually, I'm training the two-legged. It's more about training the person because the dog will follow suit no matter what. So make sure you're comfortable with the training, with the trainer, and with the type of protocol that that they're using.
Exactly.
And just have fun with it. And don't wait too long to do it. Get started, as soon as you can. It doesn't have to cost a ton of money. There's no dog that's too old. And after you are done with your doggo training, your doggo gets one of these lovely treats. You can have a glass of champagne, and it's just a win-win for everybody. We're so grateful that you guys joined us today. If you have any questions on dog training, and again, we want to know what kind of dogs you adopted and how many you adopted, and just let us know how things are going. We want to make this interactive. We want you guys to ask us questions so we can get back to you. And just thank you so much for being with the Digger Digger Doggos 2025, baby.
Yay.
I don't know.
Did you have fun at the party last night? Yeah. Good.
Well, she's a little self-conscious now.
Was she?